WWL Louisiana Weekend News starts now.
And good Sunday evening to you. Thanks for being with us. I'm Mike McDaniel in for Whitney Miller. We do start with a tragedy in New Orleans East. A shooting today left 2 people dead and injured another. Our Amelia Strahan joining us now live from the Pines Village neighborhood. Amelia, good evening to you.
Mike, when we arrived, we found a very emotional scene. Family and loved ones have been gathered on the street corner for most of the afternoon. You can see it's still a very active scene. I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can get a better look. You can see there are still multiple officers, as I mentioned, loved ones gathering around the area. We just got more information from NOPD. We've been in touch with them throughout the day. Police say a man and woman are dead, and another man is in critical condition. Investigators say the female victim was in her 50s and the man who was killed was older, but they weren't able to confirm his exact age. Officers say the surviving victim, who is still in the hospital, is in his 30s. We spoke to family who didn't want to go on camera, and they say the female victim actually just moved into the complex this month. Councilmember Eugene Green was here earlier sharing resources for loved ones traumatized by the incident.
I hope that there will one day be a time in our city when we don't have this type of traumatic event that affects so many people. We have a couple of families that are hurting today, and residents of a community who wish to have their communities somewhat more peaceful today are going to be affected by something that's going to be a reminder to them all the time of tragedy.
All right, our Amelia Strahan live out there in the Pines Village neighborhood where that happened. Well, New Orleans police are also investigating a shooting in Central City that happened overnight, leaving 1 woman dead and another hurt. This happened on Jackson Avenue near Magnolia Street around midnight. When officers got there, they found both women. One of them was pronounced dead at the scene. The other was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. No suspects have been named. To the North Shore now in Tangipahoa Parish, the sheriff's office needs some help finding these 3 men. Detectives think they may have been involved in multiple violent crimes recently. One was on Thursday at this gas station in Hammond. Witnesses say the 3 men crashed a car and then got out and ran away, carrying what looked like guns. Authorities say the car had been stolen, and surveillance video shows one of the men putting a gun in the store's ice chest or ice machine. If you know who those men are, make sure you give the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office a call. All right, we're going to take a live look over the city right now. We have seen some rain off and on today, along with some usual summer heat, of course. WWL meteorologist Alexander Cranford has been keeping an eye on that, plus a spot out in the Atlantic. Hey there, Alex.
Hi, Mike. Yes, and we are seeing things get a little more active in the Atlantic, and I'll show you that in a second. We continue with no threats here, thankfully. And in fact, we'll have just a continuation this week of more of what we've seen lately, with scattered rain helping to limit any sort of extreme heat. Although, of course, it's August in New Orleans, pretty hot, but not that really intense heat that we get at times. Looking outside right now in New Orleans, we are at 90 degrees. We do have a bit of a breeze, you may have noticed, from the east-northeast. Our dew point pretty high, so our feels like temperature around 100. Checking in over at Slidell, though, look at that, 78, with not a lot of wind, but certainly a shower and storm reported right around Slidell, and that's at the office for the National Weather Service. That site on the western edge of Slidell, and you can see there is rain there, actually approaching Lacombe, moving right over Lacombe right now and extending farther north, almost to Pearl River and Picayune, Mississippi. So a little bit of some shower action there, helping bring your temperatures from the 90s into the 70s. Farther south of Lake Pontchartrain, you can see a tiny bit of spotty shower action around Jean Lafitte and Lake Salvador, and then also south of Houma. Hour by hour this evening, our rain chance will be dwindling to about 20%, and then overnight our temperatures get stuck around 80 south at the lake and middle 70s north. And here's a quick check on the tropics. Our outlook is highlighting 2 different spots. There are no active storms at the moment as far as named storms or hurricanes, but just 2 spots. And the one I'm sure you have your eye on is the red shaded one. That one has a higher chance of development as we head through this week. But note that curve out at the end of this box. This is is really just the spot where it may form, but this is going to be its placement by next weekend somewhere in this general area, and we're expecting possibly a curve off to the north somewhere in the western Atlantic. I'll get much more into detail, show you some model runs, and of course have a closer look at our local forecast coming up in about 10 minutes.
Looking forward to it, Alex. Thanks. Tomorrow morning, students in Jefferson Parish and many in St. Charles Parish will be back in the classroom for their first days. District leaders in JP say after several years of struggling to hire teachers, things have improved. Well, last year, the district was about 150 teachers short. Now, the district reports that's been cut in half, with about 70 vacancies now. District leaders credit hard work and a new internal teaching track.
We've had several job fairs where we have really elicited teachers and all staff actually to come and work in JP. We have our own in-house teacher certification program. So we started that about 5 years ago, where we have the ability, just like any other program across the state, to certify teachers in-house.
Now, most of those vacancies appeared after COVID-19, when JP schools, along with many other districts, lost a large number of staff members. All right, something else for parents to know in Jefferson Parish. The district's transportation hotline is now open to provide information about buses. It will be active Monday through Friday from 6 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. Many pre-K students will also be back in the classroom starting tomorrow across our area, along with some private schools in New Orleans. Now, we do have a full list on our website for you. If you want to check it out, WWL-TV.com. A Baton Rouge police officer has died from injuries related to what police say was an intentional attack 2 months ago. Sergeant Caleb Eisworth was with the Baton Rouge Police Department for 23 years. In June, he was riding his motorcycle on his way home from a shift. Police say before he could make it home, a man rammed his car into Eisworth's bike. The man was arrested that same day. He is now charged with first-degree murder. Eisworth leaves behind a 12-year-old daughter. After the break, a well-known local candy company is changing hands, so we dug deep into the archives to see just how long people have been tearing open those iconic wrappers. It's another Naturally Nolens when we come back. The Ponchatoula-based candy maker Elmer Chocolate has a new owner. This past week, we learned it was bought by a Florida equity firm, ending 200 years of local ownership. Elmer, of course, is known for its gold brick and heavenly hash eggs that commonly are found in Easter baskets. In this throwback, the late Frank Davis reminds us why Elmer Chocolate will always be Naturally Nolens.
I I'm willing to bet you that if you grew up in southeast Louisiana, nary an Easter went by when you didn't have a gold brick egg and a heavenly hash egg in your Easter basket. Hey, but do you know where they come from? You know where they've always come from? A place called Elmer.
We've been doing this a long time. We've been in business over 150 years. For the gold brick and heavenly hash, we've been doing heavenly hash since 1923 and gold brick since 1936. It's all about tradition. You've got, I think I heard a statistic, as far as people that live in a state, Louisiana has the highest percentage of people in the current population that were born here. So that tradition, it's much easier for tradition to make it over generations when you've got people that have lived here all their life and their parents lived here and their grandparents lived here. We sponsor a lot of Easter egg hunts in the area, and one that's coming up is at the Governor's Mansion. We put on the Easter egg hunt at the Governor's Mansion, and they bring in a lot of the Head Start kids, and they have a blast. I mean, it's something we look forward to every year.
How big is this?
When I've been there, it's thousands of kids. You don't get rich making chocolate, but at the same time, when times are down, it still hangs in. And I think people are going to buy candy in good times and bad times. It makes people feel good. There's a lot of benefits to eating candy, and it's been a constant. It's been something that people want in their lives to make them feel good. There's definitely a dark chocolate following, and there are studies that show that dark chocolate lowers blood pressure, makes helps lower cholesterol and those sort of things. And being that these are the two top products in this area, you've got people that are passionate about that, and you've got people that are passionate about dark chocolate, and we just kind of married the two together.
That was cool, huh? And I bet y'all didn't know that. I guess the only thing left for me to tell you then is Happy Easter. I'm Frank Davis for Channel 4 Eyewitness News, and see that? Naturally knowledge.
After the break, Alexandra will have a closer look at this week's forecast. She'll also break down when we might see some developments out in the tropics. Stick around.
Well, we have yet more really average August kind of weather coming up, and in fact, a pretty decent chance for rain throughout this week. Things change, I think, for next weekend, but 90 degrees, not too bad. That was our high today as well. Pretty humid, our dew point in the middle 70s, so feeling like 100. But heading into this week, and I know last week was the first day of school for some, this week is the first week of school for some of you. So we have another familiar kind of setup for this week. Daily storms, and we'll say not too hot. High temperatures probably close to 90 the next several days. Daily scattered storms and some scattered cloud cover associated with the rain are going to keep those temperatures down, so not super hot. The intense heat might return for next weekend, though, as our pattern shifts a little bit. And in the tropics, no tropical threats here, but we are going to be tracking an uptick in activity likely through the rest of August and into the peak, which is early September. We have Invest 97 way out there. This one might become Erin this week, and it might even become our first hurricane of the season. So we'll talk more about that in a second. First, though, our live radar showing a little rain south of Hammond, some right around Lacombe and Picayune. We have a bit developing, look at this, right on the edge of Kenner and Metairie, right along the lakefront there, and also one outside of New Orleans east. These have been moving slightly off to the west, so a shower over Lake Salvador will be continuing that way. Pretty small kind of spotty showers around the Houma area, but certainly helping with the heat. For example, at Slidell, 78 degrees there. The lakefront and downtown both now saying 87 along with Belle Chase. So our feels like temperatures kind of steamy in some spots, but not too bad for a lot of locations. Hour by hour this evening, we'll keep our rain chance near 30%, dwindling to 20% overnight as our temperatures come down through the 80s. North of the lake, middle 70s, and south about 79 or 80 for early tomorrow morning around sunrise. And then our highs, once again, 90 or 91. Decent chance, 30 or 40% for a few showers and storms. And also look at these oranges showing that deeper tropical moisture flinging into our area this week. That means we may have a couple of heavier downpours here and there, particularly Tuesday and Wednesday. We're highlighted for a marginal risk of some flooding rain. Overall, I think the rain should be manageable this week. The blues and purples are 1 to 2 or so inches of rain spread across our area and spread out over 5 days. But we'll watch again, mainly Tuesday and Wednesday with more atmospheric moisture loaded up. Some of those showers and downpours could get heavy at times, so a little spotty street flooding possible by then. Here's our forecast tonight and tomorrow morning, Monday, 7 a.m. Looking fine. Couple of showers and storms near the coast. This is at noon. We're heating up, but not too bad. We have clouds. We have some scattered or spotty rain. You saw the rain chance there. Not too high for tomorrow. Here is one of those ways of some moisture coming in on Tuesday morning. So just a heads up, Tuesday for the early commute, you might start with some scattered rain, and then through the day, a decent chance. I have about 50% chance of rain Tuesday and then into Wednesday, pretty close to that as well. In the tropics, we have the 2 spots, neither a named storm or an organized system, but this is the one that probably caught your eye more than this one. This one we've been tracking for many days. Low chance of development, dry air, and you can see just kind of a big broad swirl here and moving northward into cooler waters over the ocean, so not a concern for land. This is the one, Invest 97, and I wanted to show you the computer models. They're in pretty good agreement, bringing it out across the ocean, maybe developing it this week, and then curving it possibly off to the north by early next week, or even into this coming weekend and early next week. So the big question will be how close it is able to come, first of all, to some of these Caribbean islands as it moves to the north, and then eventually possibly the East Coast or Bermuda as we have this far out, just a big range of possibilities. But it does look like it will possibly take that turn to the north around kind of a small extension of the big Bermuda high here. And this is our model showing it. There's also a big high over the Gulf Coast for next weekend, so that'll be guiding it to the north, and we may even see a trough of low pressure here swing out from the northeast U.S. and guide it off to the north and kind of curve it around possibly to the northeast. Take this one with a grain of salt. This is just one model run. I just wanted to give you a rough idea of what might happen. The Euro model curving it out there somewhere around Bermuda, but again, we'll watch this week, and a lot of the east coast of the U.S. will have a lot of eyes on that as it kind of takes shape and we see how close it might come to the east coast. Next name is Erin, and then Fernand and Gabrielle, and I wanted to point out there's also another wave coming behind this Invest 97 one. So very typical to see this happening as we head further into August and almost into September, but we continue thankfully with no tropical threats, but watch out for those downpours scattered about Tuesday and Wednesday especially, and then be ready for, it looks like, some more intense, very August-like kind of heat heading into next weekend.
Quarterback Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck try to impress in the Saints' first preseason game. Plus, future LSU gymnast Heslie Rivera tries to add a U.S. Gymnastics all-around title to the gold medal she won last summer in Paris. Seth has a preview of the final night of the U.S. Gymnastics Championships in New Orleans next in sports. The U.S. Gymnastics Championships conclude this evening at the Smoothie King Center. Going into Sunday night, Olympic gold medalist and LSU commit Heslie Rivera holds the lead for the women's all-around title. Seth Lewis has a preview from the Blender.
USA Gymnastics has produced some of the biggest sports stars in the world, like Simone Biles and Suni Lee. But in Louisiana, the growth of the game is directly correlated to LSU. The Tigers are, of course, the 2024 national champs and the back-to-back SEC champs. And when the Tigers were signing autographs on Friday, you couldn't tell that they weren't the biggest stars in the arena. For the Tigers, they're just happy to see the momentum for the sport that they love.
I have loved seeing how much that gymnastics has grown, especially in the state of Louisiana too. You know, LSU gymnastics has been just such a big part of LSU sports and even just for the sport of gymnastics in general. So to see that transition for USA sports and for the national team and for these girls that are, you know, middle school and high schoolers to perform in front of a crowd like this and for the state of Louisiana, it's so incredible to see, and I'm so happy that it's here this weekend.
This is so cool. Honestly, it's a big opportunity for the state of Louisiana and also for USA Gymnastics. Like, them coming together and holding USA Championships here is something really special, and it's really special to me because I know how big the Louisiana community is and also how big the USA Gymnastics community is, and seeing it in the state that I've lived in for the past couple years is so nice. And honestly, just sitting in the stands, I wish I was on the competition floor because it brings back so many memories and it's so nostalgic just being here, and I really do love it.
Now, as far as the U.S. Women's Championships, the highest combined score between Friday and Sunday will be declared the winner, and in the lead right now is a future Tiger and an Olympic gold medalist in Heslie Rivera. At the Smoothie King Center, Seth Lewis, WWL, Louisiana.
All right, Seth, thanks, and we'll have results from tonight's U.S. Gymnastics Championship on 4th Down on 4. Plus, Brian Kelly clears up the internet injury rumors surrounding quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. Tulane's quarterbacks impressed during the Green Wave's first scrimmage of preseason camp, and a complete breakdown of the Saints' first preseason game in L.A. against the Chargers. Join us for 4th Down on 4 later tonight here on Channel 4. And the Saints right now are trailing in the fourth quarter to the Chargers 17-10. Spencer Rattler started at quarterback. He went went 7 of 11, also ran for 22 yards. He threw no touchdowns and had a fumble loss. Tyler Shuck came in just before halftime. He led a 2-minute drive for a field goal, and then in the third quarter, Shuck threw a pick 6, but also a 54-yard bomb to Mason Tipton for a touchdown, the roller coaster ride that only a rookie can provide. There's just a few minutes left to go in that game. And again, we'll recap everything tonight at 10 as well as on 4th Down on 4. And that's a look at sports. We'll be right back after this.
Few showers wrapping up this evening, and tonight into early tomorrow we'll keep the rain chance near 20%, and then tomorrow through Wednesday be prepared for more of those scattered hit or miss kind of showers and storms, maybe a couple of heavier downpours Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we're heating up a little bit more of that really classic August heat. We'll be back getting into next weekend.
Most of it just doesn't linger, just in and out.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Hopefully we get a cold front soon.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
September coming
Almost
up.
there. It's going to wrap up our 5:30 newscast. Of course, thanks for being with us. We'll see you right back here at 10 o'clock.